welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, my name's Diana and we discuss eating a gluten-free, vegan, plant-based lifestyle on my channel. So in today's video, we're going to be reviewing 5 different gluten-free and vegan store-bought bagels. Let's get into it. All right, so we went with 5 different bagel brands. These are the ones I could find pretty easily. I'm sure there's more out there. Please put them down below in the comments if you can think of them. If I find them out there in the wild, I'll do maybe another video, but these are the ones I knew of that I could find. I decided to go with plain variety. I know they all come in different flavors, cinnamon raisin, everything bagel, but I figured I would just do plain just to kind of start with a base. So the first one up we have is Carbonaut. They are gluten-free bagels. They are the first low-carb gluten-free bread I have known to come to market. They are 2 grams of net carbs, 70 calories a bagel, and 35 grams of fiber. So that is one. They are not super cheap. They are pretty expensive. Most of these bagels are for what they are, but if you're anyone like me that's been gluten-free, trying to find a bagel that's store-bought that tastes good is always a challenge. Next up, we have the Greater Knead New York style bagels. They come frozen, so do the Carbonauts. They, however, are typical bagel. They have 67 grams of carbs, 3 grams of fiber, 330 calories. They are not low carb by any means. Okay, next up, we have Schar. You've seen them on my channel before. They're one of my favorite brands. These are usually my go-to. They're the easiest to find. I've had pretty much all of these bagels before. There is 1 or 2 that I don't remember if I've had them or not. So just to be fair, I mean, I have been gluten-free for a long time, guys. So these have 290 calories, as you can see, 60 grams of carbs, a typical very heavy carb full bagel. Schar brand is entirely gluten-free and vegan. That's what I love about them. Same with this company, BFree. BFree makes a lot of great breads, sliced bread, pita breads, wraps, bagels, hamburger buns, just like Schar does. They're very similar with their 2 companies. This is entirely gluten-free and vegan, no egg, which I love because there's a lot of gluten-free bread brands out there that I really do enjoy, but when I went vegan, I had to stop eating them because there's egg in the bread. So Udi's, you know who you are. Canyon Bakehouse, you know who you are too. If you're listening, get with the program. All right, and then lastly we have O'Dough's. They're bagel thins, so they're actually, you know, gluten-free and vegan. They, believe it or not, even though they're thins, they're 200 calories. So can you imagine what it would have been like if these were a full bagel? Obviously they have the right amount of carbs, but they still have 200 calories packed into this thin bagel. All right, so what we'll do is we're gonna toast each one of these up individually. We're gonna try them with cream cheese, of course, and I'm gonna show you what they look like, tell you their flavor profile, and tell you which one I think tastes the best. So let's get into the video. All right, first up is Carbonaut, the low carb gluten-free vegan bagel. They look like this when you take them out of the package. You get 5 in a bag. I honestly want to say the price for these was $10. Extremely expensive in my opinion for frozen bagels. I did get them on sale. You can find these at Sprouts. I want to say they're at other grocery stores, but I don't know if they carry the bagel variety. I've seen them at Whole Foods, I've seen them at Weis and a few other grocery stores, but I'm not sure they carry the bagels. They have a sliced bread as well they carry. Okay, so we're gonna toast this up and see how it tastes. So here we go. The other thing I'd like to mention is I just had to use a serrated knife to cut the bagel. I am pretty familiar with a lot of the other brands, and I do just want to mention this one does not come pre-cut. So as you can see, in typical fashion, it did not cut very well. At least it didn't fall apart, but you know, gluten-free bagels and cutting is always a challenge. So we're gonna pop these in the toaster and I'll be back in seconds for you, but minutes for me. So I just wanted to show you this is what it looks like. So I did about 4 minutes toasted. It didn't get that toasted. Obviously every toaster is different. It has a nice softness to it still. Obviously it's a little crispy. I usually like my bagel a little more toasted, but you know, we got a lot to do. So let's get through all these bagels. I'm gonna cream cheese it up and tell you what I think once I taste it. Spoiler alert, if you've seen any of my other cream cheese videos, you'll know that I tried some, but Kite Hill is still my favorite. So spoiler alert there if you haven't seen them. But if you haven't, go check it out. The links are going to be up here. I have a Philly one, and then I'm going to have another one coming out in a few days. So stay tuned. But sorry for the spoiler alert, but Kite Hill is still near and dear to my heart. Okay, so we cream cheesed half the bagel. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm probably not going to cream cheese all the bagels because I can't eat 5 full bagels in one sitting. So I'm only going to do halves just so you can get an idea of each one. So all right, here we go. I've actually only had Carbonaut sliced bread. I have not had their bagels, so I'm kind of excited. So bon appetit. Okay. So it has the texture of a bagel, but I'm gonna be honest with you, the taste to me, it had almost a very yeasty taste, and it tasted almost like cardboard or styrofoam, I guess. It just didn't have a very appetizing taste, and even though there was cream cheese on it, like even now it has like an aftertaste. I'm not a fan of that at all. I get it's low carb, but I'm sorry, if I'm eating a bagel, I don't want to sacrifice my calories and carbs. So I'm probably not gonna maybe buy this one again. The bread wasn't as bad when I've had it, but as far as this bagel goes, like, All right, the next one up is the Greater Knead. You get 4 bagels in this bag. They're frozen. Knead is spelled K-N-E-A-D. Play on words, kneading bread. They make other breads as well. They make soft pretzels too. Definitely check those out if you get to see them. They're really good. I've had these before, spoiler alert. So I already know how they're gonna taste. Also, this is what the Greater Knead looks like before toasting. They do cut it so it splits a little, but yeah, just so you can see the difference. Have them here, toasted up. You can see it got a little brown on the edges, brown on the other side. So love that for us. It has a firm texture to it. This is the bagel that you're gonna probably feel the most bagel feel with. If you were to put this in front of someone and not tell them it was gluten-free or a vegan bagel, from touching it and looking at it, they're not gonna probably know right off the bat. This is the most freshest bakery type of bagel feel you'll get, I think, in any of these bagels we're gonna try today. So let me cream cheese this up and see how it goes. All right, so we got this cream cheesed up. I'm gonna do a taste test and we'll tell you what I think. Cheers. So good. I'm not even gonna take another bite. I already know how good this bagel is. So you get a nice crunch, I don't know if you could hear it when I bit into it, and a nice crust on the outside like a bagel should have. Then there's that nice chew that you get with a normal bagel. And the texture is perfect. Honestly, this is probably one of the best bagels, store-bought bagels that I've had that's gluten-free and vegan. I definitely would buy this again. In fact, spoiler alert again, I have a bag of their everything bagels in my freezer right now. So if you didn't know, I like this brand a lot. Very good. If you see these in your store, definitely pick them up. I don't feel you'll be disappointed. I'm that confident in them. Maybe I wish they were a little bigger. They are kind of small sized, but you know, for the taste and the texture and everything else, totally worth it. So definitely check out the Greater Knead. Kneading bread, Knead. You won't forget. All right, next up we have Schar. You get 4 bagels in a bag for this one as well. They do come in other flavors, cinnamon raisin and newest is everything bagel seasoning. I've tried that one. This is a bagel I always go to, so I already know what it tastes like. I buy it pretty often because it's very easy to find. Almost every grocery store I know has it. Walmart carries them as well. They make a variety of other breads. If you haven't seen any of my videos, check them out. But there's plenty of Schar products throughout my YouTube videos. They are an entirely vegan and gluten-free brand. So everything you buy is safe. You don't even have to look. All right, so let's see. This came out nice and toasty on both sides. So this one got toasted the most. We're gonna cream cheese this up and I'll tell you what I think. All right, so here we go. This bagel has the crunch on the outside for sure, which I do love about this bagel a lot. That's why I buy it a lot and I try to eat them a lot, because they do have that crunch, and I can't always find the Greater Knead, although lately they've been popping up more. This Schar I find is a hit or miss with people because you do have to bake the bread. The dough is almost sweet, but it has like a drier taste to it. It's really hard to describe, but if you've had their bread before, you're either a fan or you're probably not, or you might just say it's just okay. I think these are just fine. I'm happy eating them. I don't miss a bagel when I eat these. I'm perfectly content. I'd probably rather eat the Greater Knead ones, but like I said, Schar is easier to find and it's one of my favorites. So when I see it, I grab it. I keep their bread in my house, their baguettes. I really love the brand. I'm not sponsored. Schar, if you can hear me, would love to be. But yeah, this is probably like a runner up. I still say the Greater Knead is way better, but Schar is definitely a #1 pick if you can't get the Greater Knead. So definitely check them out if you can. This is what the bagel looks like before it got toasted, just so you can see. All right, let's try our next one. Next up is gonna be the BFree. There's 4 bagels in a bag, and this is what it looks like toasted, and I'll show you what it looked like right out the bag. So pretty similar looking. It just has a little toast on it. This is what it looks like right out the bag. Before toasting. It does come pre-cut. I love BFree brand. I buy their products as well. The only thing I will say about their bread is they do use corn and it is not labeled as non-GMO. Schar's does label theirs as non-GMO. So I tend to buy Schar more than I buy BFree. I love BFree breads though. They have an amazing pita bread if you can ever get your hands on it. I have never had gluten-free pita bread taste so good. And they have sliced bread too. I really love their bread line. It's delicious. So when I found these bagels, I was anxious to try them. Spoiler alert, I have tried them. This is my second bag I bought for this review, but I'm about to review them on camera with you. So here we go. All right, here we go. So I have to be honest about these. I'm pretty disappointed with the taste on these. The thing is, if Carbonaut and Schar had a baby together, I feel like that's what this would be. Because they're big like Schar. They give me Schar vibes because their breads are very similar. But it still has that styrofoam texture to it. And it's almost lighter. Like even the bagel itself feels lighter. It's not like they put less carbs in it. It's just the taste. So like it has a toasted bread taste to it, which I will say out of all the breads, I didn't really get that almost like a burnt toast type of taste to it. But this one specifically, it's just, I'd rather eat one of the other ones. It's not my preference. If I see it and that's all I can find, I'll get it, I guess, but I'd be settling if I told you the truth. So it's not my first choice. But pretty disappointing because I really like the rest of their bread line. Perhaps they'll make it more doughy. It's very thin and it's just very like one note. It doesn't really do much for me. So, all right, on to the last one. All right, next up we have O'Dough's. So they make other breads too, hot dog and hamburger buns. I've had them before. I don't remember if I've had their bagels before. This is what they look like before toasting. I know one looks lighter than the other. I'm not really sure. They kind of just sort of come that way. They are thinner, as you can see, and you get 6 in a package. So all the other bagels had 4 except for the Greater Knead had 5. Thank God, because it was the most expensive. And then these came with 6. So I have one that's just toasted. Let me show you what it looks like. Okay, so these are toasted up. I did the time a little less because I was afraid these would burn. They did get a little bit of color, right? So we're gonna cream cheese one up and I'll tell you what I think. I will tell you this much, for a company named O'Dough's, the bread better taste doughy to me, right? How do you do that on a bagel thin? I am not sure, but we're about to find out. Here we go. You know, these are surprisingly doughy for being how thin they are. They do have a bit of an aftertaste, which I do recall. These are actually made with a lot of fruits, believe it or not, in the dough. It does kind of have an aftertaste, almost like flour or yeast, kind of like one of the other ones did. I'm not as much of a fan. I've had their breads before. Not a big fan. They're in grocery stores. They're not too hard to find. Sometimes they're even in the bakery section, sitting out. I guess if I had to go between BFree and these, honestly, I might choose these. Even though the BFree had like a better, beefier texture to it because it was a thicker bagel, the taste wasn't as good. At least these have a doughiness to them, even though they're thin, go figure. And they aren't as styrofoamy. So yeah, I mean, not my favorite, but it'll do the job, right? Okay, so in conclusion, if I had to rate them, it'd be Greater Knead, then Schar, then it would probably the O'Dough's, the BFree, and then the Carbonaut, to be honest with you. Just based on taste and texture, I'd rather pay more money to get 5 bagels that are gonna taste really good than less money to get bagels that are just okay. All right, guys. So that's gonna wrap up this video. I appreciate you watching. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked what you saw. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. And as always, stay driven.